Aw, squish.
What is up, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Khrisstian's Customs. Now, you can obviously see I'm sitting on my 1997 Honda VFR750. That's because I'm ready to drive it. I know I told you on the last episode that my stator went out, and I wanted to let you know now that that is not the case. It was actually my voltage regulator. So I really should have just said charging system, but this is what I ended up doing to get it all tested and figure out what was wrong to get it fixed. So first, you're supposed to do this while the bike is warm, but obviously I couldn't get my bike to idle long enough to get warm. I tested the battery with a multimeter, specifically putting it on DC voltage. You can see there's a sweet spot right around about 2,000 RPMs. See, it's charging right there. That's kind of normal, but you want to see it a little bit higher. Here we go, we're going to 5,000 RPMs again. Obviously there's something wrong, so we need to go ahead and take this apart. And you can see that the voltage was dropping the higher the RPMs. I needed to test the wiring coming from my stator. So I got down to the voltage regulator.
We're gonna remove the plug right here. Oh my goodness. That is so bad.
You can see it's not waterproof. Wonder what happened. The wiring was probably the main issue, but obviously this needs to get replaced. Obviously you can see that the issue was some wiring had been cooked, and this can be a for sure sign that your stator went bad and it cooked your voltage regulator, but it is also almost impossible to test the stator at that time since the wiring is so cooked. So you either need to cut the wiring back and remember which yellow wire went where, or what you can do is just go ahead and get yourself a new pigtail. On top of that, I went ahead and got myself a new voltage regulator. Now, the voltage regulator that I got, it was exactly the same as the original, same part number and everything, but it was used. I was a little bit hesitant on it, but the deal that I got on it, which I only paid like 25 bucks for it, was fantastic, and it looked like it was in really great shape. So I went ahead and picked that up. Getting the voltage regulator off, it's very simple. You just need to make sure that the surfaces are clean, make sure that there's no rust or anything that is going to prevent it from having a good mating surface, because a good mating surface is going to help disperse heat, because what a voltage regulator does is it displaces excess energy by turning it into heat. And so you need to make sure that you have a very good mating surface. Now for the wiring, it was a little bit trickier because you need to cut it back far enough that you know that there's not any damaged wiring. Got you a pro tip here. Instead of using a razor blade and potentially damaging the wiring while stripping the loom back, use a pick. All you have to do is feed it into the end, and then you can pull out like that, and now you run no risk of damaging the wiring. If you need to, you can just shove it into the edge and pull outward. There we go. That's super fast too. That wiring does look shiny, but it also looks like it's been cooked a little bit, so I am going to go further back into this harness. Let's go with right here. Oh, let's strip it. Oh, that looks so much better. Not all burnt and nasty. That looks great. I already have the crimp attached to one side, so I take my heat shrink, I slide it through, and I aim directly for the center. Pinch down. I actually work this all the way over, and then I'm going to fold it. You can see it picked up a little curve. We'll straighten that out slightly. There we go. That's better. There we go. All right, let's slide our heat shrink over. Give us some heat. Now, I do use a specific type of heat shrink, which is adhesive heat shrink. And what this is really going to do is give it a really tight seal and make sure that no water gets in there. Now, even after I am done with heat shrinking it, I will loom it by itself, and then I go back to the main harness and then I loom it again. And this is going to make sure that you have a very nice watertight seal. Finished it off. Perfect. The last pro tip of the day is going to be save small rolls of electric tape like this. Don't finish them off on easy jobs. Save them for small areas like this so you can get around easily and not have to be fumbling with a giant roll of electric tape. getting stuck on the frame like so. After that, it is a lot easier to test the stator. And to test the stator, all you really need to do is take your multimeter and set it to ohms or resistance. If your voltage meter doesn't have an auto detection, then you need to set it to the highest resistance possible. Test in between each one of those yellow wires to ground at first. And what you want to see is open or no connection. Then test in between the wire pairs themselves. So it doesn't matter which prong you have, you can use the black or the red, and you set it into the wire position number 1, and then you test number 2, and then number 3. And then, of course, you go to 2, and then you test 3. What that is telling you is the resistance in between them. What you want to see is no more than 0.5 ohms. If you have a open, that means that potentially the coils on your stator have gone bad. And, of course, you're going to need to replace it. Now, I don't have that issue. And I'm able to show you that by starting the bike up again. You can see that it has very nice voltage on the battery. So then I rev it up to 5,000 RPMs. And you can see that it's putting out even more voltage. What you really want to see is anywhere between 13.5 to 15.5 while you're at 5,000 RPMs. Now, while you're at idle, I like to see around like 13.5 just sitting at idle, but sometimes it is a little bit lower. If you have the style where you have an adjuster on the side like mine does for the carburetors, make sure that it is set at 1200 RPMs while you're idling. If it is lower than that, of course, the voltage is going to be lower, so your readings aren't going to be proper. Once I made sure that it would idle and everything of that sort, then I did let the bike run, I let it warm up, and then I tested everything again, just like you're supposed to. Now, this bike is done. I'm good to go. I'm super excited. Now I can get on other things, like I would like to go through the carbs. And then I also have a shifter kit that I'm going to go ahead and knock out. What I'm going to do now, though, is get out of here, take this on a test drive, which I know it's going to run just fine. So really, I'm just going to have fun. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, and you will see me on the next episode of Khrisstian Customs.